when you're struggling to make an important, life-saving message through to the masses, you might want to call on a comedian to help you.
Well, that's what the campaign group Climate Science Breakthrough has done, asking comedian Joe Brand to help us understand the science of climate change with a typically blunt and humorous video.
Well, Joe and Mark Maslin, who you saw there, who's the Professor of Earth System Science at UCL, are both with us now. This is a clever idea. I like this idea.
Oh, thanks, Richard.
Yeah. It wasn't your idea, was it?
What do you mean? It can't possibly be my idea, because it was clever.
It's clever, yes.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't my idea, no.
Presumably, Professor, this was an idea that came from you and the climate scientists because you're struggling to get the message through. And the Just Stop Oil activists might be getting the message through, but they're not doing it in a particularly popular way. Is that why you've tried to make it? Because it's not a funny subject, is it? No. The climate crisis.
Well, we've been struggling for 30 years to actually communicate the opportunities as well as the threats of climate change. And it was the Climate Science Breakthrough guys, who are all ex-media, who basically came and said, look, you're not getting through. Why don't we use our contact? Why don't we get brilliant comedians like Joe to actually translate what you're trying to say? And the thing is, why am I on Good Morning Britain? It's not because of climate change, it's because of Joe. And so, therefore, it really works, because there are so many positive things about climate change that we can deal with.
So, Joe, are you writing original material for this, or are you adapting existing gags that you've got?
Stolen someone else's.
But is it a subject you are passionate about? Would you be out there blocking traffic if you could?
No.
Right. So you're doing your bit in your way.
I don't like that word passionate. It's overused.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very concerned about it.
Yeah.
So it is an area that I'm interested in. But I also think, you know, considering what I do, I'm probably better used doing something like this than I am out on a march. I don't like marching. It's too stressful and it wears me out. But, you know, if someone said to me, will you come on a march, I might do, if I wasn't lying down.
Yeah. You'd rather lie down in your own bed than lie down in front of a car, basically, is what you're saying.
Oh, now, that's a nice idea. I'll think about that one.
But it's a very British thing to do, isn't it? I can't imagine any other country doing this, using ironic humour to kind of get these points. I can't imagine the Americans doing it or the French doing it.
Well, it's a cliché, isn't it? The Americans don't get irony.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I can imagine the French doing that. Yeah, absolutely.
The whole point of doing it right now, Professor Maslin, is because we have COP28 taking place in Dubai. And meanwhile, the UAE hosting has been accused of a real scandal because allegedly they were planning to use the climate change talks to push oil and gas interests. Have you seen this story? Does this come as any surprise to you at all?
So I have seen the fantastic story, and no, it doesn't come as a surprise to any of us. It is a really odd thing, which is the president of COP, who's trying to negotiate with 198 countries to get more tighter agreements on reducing carbon emissions, is also the CEO of the National Oil and Gas Company. Yeah. And that juxtaposition, and we've been complaining about this for 6 months, to say it just sends out the wrong message.
It's like having a peace conference and using it to organise an invasion, isn't it? I mean, it's a complete inversion of the purpose.
I mean, it's like, as Greta said, our house is on fire, and I feel sometimes some of these petrochemical nations are literally trying to throw more petrol on it and going, don't worry, we'll sort it out in 10 or 20 years' time. It's just not going to happen. So this is why we need Joe and others to get the message out. Because the problem is, moving to renewables, it's cheaper, cleaner and better for everybody. Why wouldn't we do it anyway?
Yeah. Well, we will speak to the Environment Secretary, Steve Barclay, in a few minutes, actually, on this programme. If there is one thing that people watching this video of you doing the science and Joe interpreting it for the lay person in a humorous way, if there's one thing you want people to take away from it, what would it be?
Lobby government to do the right thing.
What is the right thing?
We don't need any more oil and gas.
Right.
We really
don't.
No
new licences?
Anywhere in the world. We have enough oil and gas to make the temperatures up to 3 degrees warmer than today, OK? So we don't need any more. So giving out those licences is ridiculous. A, they won't be operational for 10 to 15 years. They make no difference because there's such a small amount coming out. Won't make any difference to the global prices. So our energy bills will still be incredibly high. So therefore, just cancel them.
Well,
do the right
one
thing.
of us will put that point to the Minister in a few minutes' time.
Please do, Richard.
OK, we'll see what he says.
Yeah.
Isn't he great?
He's great, isn't he?
Only because of you, Joe.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, you... Well, you're also great, Joe.
Oh,
And one of the
Susanna.
reasons is because you host the Great British Bake Off and Extra Slice. We are not going to spoil it for people because the winner was announced last night. We know it's a man. That's as much
Yes,
as,
we
that's as
know
much
it's
as
a
you're
man.
prepared to say.
Well, 3 men in the final, the patriarchy. They take over.
Very good.
That's right. Why is it such a resounding success all the time? What is it about cake and eclairs and bread, Joe, that we all love so much?
I've got no idea, because I prefer fruit and vegetables, Susanna. So I can't really work it out at all.
You prefer an extra slice. I know you do, because it's the title of your programme.
Yes, and we're on tomorrow, and we've got all the bakers on, and
Yeah.
it's a really good, fun show.
What
including
time,
the
what
winner.
channel?
It's on Channel 4, 8 p.m.
Lovely.
See you there.
Phew, I nearly forgot that.
Yeah.
I haven't got a memory at all, so
Don't
I've
worry,
done
I would
very
have
well
reminded
today.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you
All right, Joe.
very much indeed.
Nice to
Right,
see you
well,
both.
I have to say, we often have climate change discussed on this programme. We do often talk about it. On this programme, we don't need a comedian to interpret it for us.
How dare you?
We've got Laura.
We have Laura.
Yeah, and you know, it's all about simplifying it, and that's what these stripes all behind me are all about. They're the stripes from Ed Hawkins, and they look at how Earth was cool and how it's slowly been warming in the last 10 years, the 10 warmest on record, and this is the issue with this rapidly warming planet.